Hi, everybody. It's Allie at Heart and Soul Connected, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the elementals. Many of us look at elementals as pixies, gnomes, fairies, yeah, the little people. And but there's a lot more to the elemental system than just simply that. So I want to talk a little bit about it. They've been a part of human nature and the mythology for thousands of years. And they are the fundamental sources and forces of nature. They're often depicted as powerful beings that embody the essence of the earth and also earth, wind, air, and fire. From ancient mythologies to modern times, they have captivated our imagination and they symbolize the intricate relationship between humans and the natural world. We are often fascinated by the idea of trees, for instance, and how we can wrap ourselves around them and give them a great big hug, how they're alive and how they interact with each other, with the plants, with the animals. I mean, everything that surrounds them. And it's just a wonderful idea to realize that all these things are living and they do exist, even if we take that for granted or we don't even think about it. Let's put it that way. One common misconception about elementals is that they're simply mythical creatures lacking any real significance. Dragons. Dragons were elementals and probably still are elementals. They did walk the earth, but we only think of them as mythic. We don't think that way about dinosaurs. We don't think that way about some of the other big animals that have, like the woolly mammoth. But we often do about dragons and other animals that consider to be more mythic, maybe even unicorns. Who knows? They play a crucial role in every culture, representing the balance, and they also are not affiliated with destruction. In fact, they represent creation and transformation. And transformation is something that we all work on all the time. We transform from this to that. We are not static, and neither is nature, and neither are these elementals. Misconceptions often arise from oversimplification. So it's essential to explore the complexities in order to understand it a little bit more. The four classic elements, earth, air, water, and fire, form the foundation of many elemental mythologies. Earth elementals are often depicted as sturdy and dependable, and also represent stability and growth. Water elementals are associated with change and fluidity, reflecting the dynamic nature of water, because we know water can be destructive as well as beautiful. Very important to think about. Air elementals are often seen as messengers carrying ideas and information between realms. So they're floating. They're, the phoenix rising from the ashes. Fire elementals are frequently depicted as passionate and transformative, symbolizing both destruction and renewal. Each one embodies the unique qualities of its element, showcasing intricate relationships within the natural world. And by looking at them, appreciating them, and taking them out and sort of thinking about what they are and what they represent, we have more gratitude and appreciation for the interconnectedness of things. We are simply not an island. No man is an island. No elemental is an island. We live in unity with all that is, and everything is connected to each other. We all live in symbiotic relationship of connection, even though we seem to be apart. We aren't. In Japanese mythology, there's a fascinating story about a storm god, and the storm god's name is Susanoo, who is said to have created the islands of Japan and the ocean. This myth showcases the elemental forces' influence on humanity and nature, demonstrating the role elementals play in shaping the world. The story of Susanoo highlights the complex relationship between elemental beings and human culture. This mythological account not only illustrates the creative power of elementals, but also serves as a reminder of their enduring impact on the human imagination. I often tell my students when we're looking at mythology as a word, that a myth is a story. A myth is a story that explains something that has no words sometimes. Before the advent of writing, before the advent of being able to read, we saw something as a human species and we explained it with the limited language that we had. And so if you look into mythology, let's say, of the flood myth, which isn't a myth, we learn that the flood myth is all over the world and it has similar components depending upon who viewed it, when and where, and how they recorded it. So if somebody says to you, well, that's a myth, well, it could be that you're thinking that's a lie. But the word mythology is not. It is a story used to explain something. I'm often reminded also of other myths that show up and often have students read 5 or 6 myths from different parts of the world to see if they correlate and see how they correlate. And the study is a fascinating one. There's a lot of different ways that this has been viewed, but you will see the story throughout the world most of the time, and it is all categorized as, let's say, the myth of the flood. There are others. How the world began. How, if you're looking at Genesis, I'm not saying Genesis is a myth, but it's a story. It's a way of seeing it. Somebody recorded it. They said, this is what we saw, and this is how we saw it. And that continues into any type of myth that you read about. And I remember first discovering Joseph Campbell, who talks about the power of myth and talks about how we view that word. And it helped me to empower my own self to go into some of these myths and realize that this is what it is. It was explaining. If you don't have words for something and you see something shooting through the sky, then you might think this is the end of the world. But maybe it was a comet. Maybe it was a UFO. Maybe it was a falling star. Whatever that might be, we don't have the scientific knowledge at the time to say, well, this is the gases from you get my drift. This is what we see. This is what we say. And until we know more, this is how we present. And, the hardest part, I think, of lack of learning in some populations is that if we remain in the first reflection of what something is, and we don't move that knowledge once we have more and operate from that basis, then we stay in a limited learning system. And we don't believe in something that may be quite astounding and updated as we know more. If you've enjoyed this dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts in my comment. And I'll be doing more videos as time goes out and goes on. If you have anything that you're particularly interested in knowing about, please let me know. I'd be happy to do a video on it. As a humanities teacher who has also studied culture, religion, and other things, this to me is a blessing. It's a blessing and a joy to share with other people. So thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye now.